Guys, we made it. We've traversed season 1 and arrived at the season finale. Chuck versus the Marlin. Solid episode. We get a lot going on this episode. Does Chuck have to go underground? Will he have to leave his family forever? Do Casey and Sarah want that for him? Or will they protect him at all costs? At this point, you know because you've probably seen the episode. Like I said, you should watch the episode before. But hey, if you haven't, pause this podcast and go watch Chuck vs. the Marlin right now. Alright, so first off, thank you guys for taking this journey with me for at least the first season. Now, I'm not stopping here. I'm not going to just stop doing episodes here, but I'm going to move on to the second season. We're going to start with season 2, episode 1. Maybe next week, maybe the week after that. I haven't decided if I want to take a week off just to keep everything going. School stuff, Halloween's coming up, so it's going to be a long weekend. So we'll see if I decide to take a break or not. If I do, I will let you guys know on Twitter if I decide to take a week off. But the Twitter at ChuckRewatch33, capital C and Chuck. So there's that. The Chuckaholics.com. Thank you for all the support through this first season and continued work through the next seasons, the upcoming seasons. Also, go check out the Arc of Chuck series on Chuckaholics.com. This episode plays pretty big into that. And once again, thank you guys for listening. So let's begin the journey to end season 1. So let's begin where we always begin, with hit of the episode and song of the episode. The two great segments that we all know and love. We all know and love them, right, guys? We all know and love them, right? Right? Yeah, we all know and love them. Anyway, let's begin with hit of the episode. Do-do-do-do! I don't know if you could hear that little drum roll, but I did a little drum roll. Anyway, we have hit of the episode for Chuck vs. the Marlin, the final hit of the episode. And we not many choices. We have not a lot of fighting until the very end of the episode. You know, for a battle between Team Bartowski and Fulcrum, there's not a lot of fighting, which is not typical, it seems like. But still, there are some good punches thrown in said episode. And while it really was just which Sarah punch or kick is going to win, and because Casey didn't really do much. So here we have a lot of choices. Sarah fighting the shawarma girl, which what is shawarma? Someone please, I'm gonna Google shawarma after this. Actually, I don't know what shawarma is, but anyway, Sarah there's a lot of punches thrown for Sarah, and I think I've decided her dumpster punch, bam, right in the face, dumpster punch, is gonna be the winner this week because it was fantastic, and it knocked her out. It knocked shawarma girl out, just like bam. Although falling that far into a dumpster full of shit probably didn't work out too well for either of them, concussion-wise at least. Who knows? So, there you have it. Hit of the episode this week goes to Sarah Walker, played by Yvonne Strahovski, the incredibly beautiful Yvonne Strahovski. Congratulations. You've won Chuck vs. the Marlins, hit of the episode. And, like I said, I have a scoreboard going. And here's a scoreboard for the end of the season. We have John Casey, 5 hits. Sarah Walker, 4. Chuck, 2. So you all know what that means. Our season 1 winner for hit of the episode is John Casey. Congratulations, Adam Baldwin, you for portraying a kick-ass character such as John Casey. So there you have it, folks. Season 1's hit of the episode winner. Hit of the episode winner is John Casey. Keep up, and we'll see how we'll start the. I'll keep this scoreboard going, obviously, so we can see the overall hit of the episode winner. But we're going to start a new scoreboard up on season 2, episode 1. Whole new scoreboard. So there's that. And so there you have it. I mean, congratulations to the winners this week. Now let's move on to Song of the Episode. Now, there weren't actually a lot of songs in this episode. In fact, there were 2. And I chose one that I thought expressed a very good sentiment. That being Get Away by Butcher the Bar. It's sounded fantastic during the episode, and what I like to do is I go through the list. I narrow down which songs that I'm pretty sure I'm going to choose between, and then I listen to them again, like the full song, and I go and I just try and decide which one I think sounds the best and compare it to when it was played in the episode and see what I like the best. And in this episode, Get Away by Butcher the Bar by far was the winner. It's fantastic, honestly. I really enjoyed it. There we have it, folks. That was Song of the Episode. Congratulations, Butcher the Bar. You've won the Intersect Project Podcast Song of the Episode for Chuck vs. the Marlin with your song Get Away. Alright, guys. That does it for Hit of the Episode and Song of the Episode. So let's delve into Chuck versus the Marlin. Alright, let's begin with Chuck vs. the Marlin. And this is the last podcast for Chucktober, and it's the last podcast for season 1. And I'm sorry I haven't really done much in Chucktober, and I said I would. That I apologize for greatly, because, like I said, I sent out some tweets and I was like, hey, let's have some fun during October. It's called Chucktober. Let's do stuff. And I got busy and I could not do like anything, and I am apologizing for that. That is my bad. So let's begin. Let's start with the Buy More. Why don't we? There's a lot that's going on in the Buy More. First off, Jeff and Lester are pervs. That's not new. We knew this. They're pervs, and they like to do pervy things, like film women's cleavage. And that's what they do best, I guess. It's being pervy and weird, but funny and lovable at the same time. It's a weird combination, but it works somehow. You never know what they're going to do, but you can't wait to find out, because you know you're going to laugh, and you know you're going to be like, wow, that's weird, but hey, I'm laughing still. So, like I said, they're perving out, filming cleavage, women's cleavage. I didn't see any men's cleavage. Might have been some, who knows. But anyway, and they've been ordering shawarma for 29 days, because she likes to show her cleavage. So obviously that's what they're going to get. Pita. I don't know what shawarma is, but like I said, I'm going to look it up at some point. Who knows? And Jeff and Lester go out and get drunk that evening, and they cut Jeff off. So what did Jeff and Lester do? Break into the Buy More to see if Big Mike's got any alcohol. He does, but it's gone. And in that process, Jeff and Lester turn on the cameras that were off because of the robbery. Going off because of, not the robbery per se. Well, it was the robbery, but it was more of catching Fulcrum in the act. Or catching the Fulcrum spy doing something, at least. So they're somewhat helpful in that, at least. But they take the Marlin with the receiver, and they hide it at Chuck's, because that's what drunken Jeff and Lester do. Decide to hide things wherever they want to. Who knows? Well, Jeff and Lester hide it, obviously, at Chuck's place, and Morgan finds it, finds the ring inside. Morgan does what Morgan does best, jump to huge assumptions, assuming Chuck is going to propose to Sarah, not knowing it's actually Awesome's ring, which we will talk about later. Anyway, so Jeff and Lester get interrogated by Chuck and Casey, and they spilled beans, what they did, and they think they're home free. But little did they know that they were going to help solve who was the spy, the Fulcrum spy, trying to find out who the Intersect is. When they were filming the cleavage of the shawarma girl, Chuck had figured out it was probably her anyway, and he was able to use their footage to tip off Sarah so she could at least somewhat defend herself and make it somewhat of a fight, at least. Who knows? Anyway, so that's how Jeff and Lester help save the day. Now let's talk about Big Mike and his role in the Buymore robbery. Now, the Buymore, as we know, gets robbed. Not really robbed, though. It's just everything is taken out of the Buymore to search for bugs and maybe a receiver. So that's mostly what's going on here. Not really anything other than that. So Big Mike comes in all hunky-dory like he does every day, and he finds that everything has been stolen, including his precious fish, which is a marlin. It is definitely a marlin. We shouldn't denounce that fact at all. Anyway, Big Mike does what Big Mike does best. Freak out and assume everybody's to blame. And it's not a bad sentiment, especially when you're working with people like Jeff, Lester, and Morgan, that they're capable of anything terrible. And it's very possible at all times. Not even joking. Any of that could happen. So, what does all this mean? At least for Big Mike. It means he gets to interrogate each and every one of them. And he does it. And he's not interrogating about the products. He's interrogating about the Marlin. Because, as he put it, the stuff is insured, but he bought that Marlin online for $200. And that's when Morgan gets a good chuckle, because he finds out that Big Mike didn't catch the Marlin. They all thought he did. And he decides that he's going to make fun of Big Mike by laughing in his face. And I would have. Buying a stuffed fish to mount on your wall. It's really dumb. Should have at least caught it. But who knows. Anyway, so he does his interrogation thing, and he doesn't get any answers because no one actually cares about his authority, at least right now. Spoiler alert. He becomes a very big character. He's a good character. I like him. And so he has his little freak out session. And then, of course, later on in the episode, he walks in and everything is right back to where it was, because the CIA finished their job. They found the bugs, they found the receiver. So everything is back to normal. Alright, that about covers the Buymore, except for Morgan. So let's talk about Morgan. Morgan wants to play Call of Duty. Not just any Call of Duty, the next Call of Duty, which he claims will be the best game ever. Now, having played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, actually, that would not have been Modern Warfare 2, would it? It would have been World at War. Having played World at War, not that great, Morgan. Your taste in video games has been decreasing, for sure. But that's besides the point. Morgan wants to play this video game badly, and badly enough that he's willing to steal a official game review copy. Now, how Chuck got that, I don't know. Is he a member of some gaming website? I don't. Who knows? Anyway, Chuck got it, and Morgan wants to play it badly. And Chuck says, "Hey, remember last time I let you play? You released the game online. So, no, can't do that, buddy." So Morgan does what Morgan does best. Breaks into Chuck's locker to steal it so he can actually play it. But, like I said, what does he find in there? The ring. The ring he thinks is for Sarah. But it's really Awesome's ring for Ellie. And Morgan freaks out, as only Morgan can, jumping to assumptions, assuming everybody is, assuming Chuck's just out to leave him alone, and marry Sarah. And so he freaks out, hides the ring in the Marlin, and that's where he leaves it, in the Wienerlicious fridge, because I guess that's a good hiding spot as any. How do so many people have access to the Wienerlicious, like after hours? Like, it seems like this is not the first occurrence of somebody doing something at the Wienerlicious. I mean, come on, keep your security up. You gotta do better than that. So, Morgan finally finds out the ring's not for Sarah, and he's happy for Chuck because he's not getting married. Because even though Morgan said, "Hey, we're life partners, Chuck. We're like life partners, Chuck," he doesn't actually want him to get married. Surprise. But my favorite part in this episode for Morgan is him finding out, or not him finding out, but him revealing the location of the Marlin to Casey, which was torture. And if you can't see me, but I'm doing air quotes, torture. Because torture is not drinking a nice ice cold grape soda. That's not torture. That's fun. That's the best. And grape soda is delicious. And if you don't agree, you're wrong. I'm sorry. There's no getting around it. You're wrong if you don't like grape soda. It's good. It's delicious. I mean, unless you're like allergic to grapes or something, then you still probably like grape soda. You just can't drink it because you'll die. Who cares? Who cares? That's besides the point. So Morgan divulges the secret of where the Marlin is, and it helps Casey rescue Sarah and go get Chuck. And that does it for the Morgan story of that closes out the chapter on Morgan for season 1, guys. He's come a long way, hasn't he? Not really. He's still that same lovable goofball that we all know and love from episode 1. And there we have it. There's Morgan. So let's go to the proposal that ends all proposals for now. Awesome wants to marry Ellie, and I support it 100% because Awesome is awesome, and Ellie is cool and rad and dynamite out of sight. So, what does she do best? What does Awesome do best? He decides he's gonna give her an awesome ring and an awesome proposal. That ring just so happens to be his great grandmother's ring, passed down through generations, because, as Awesome quotes, his great grandmother knew that he was going to marry Ellie before he did. And she was right. She was right. So, Awesome decides to see if Chuck will hide the ring, because he doesn't want Ellie finding it before the proposal, which is a nice gesture. It's like a cohesive thing, like saying, "Hey, we're about to be brothers. We're tight right now, but I trust you with this. You're gonna be my brother soon." So, I mean, that's pretty cool for Awesome to do. So, Awesome leaves the ring with Chuck. Chuck loses said ring because Morgan steals his video games, obviously. And Chuck's frantically searching for that ring. Finally, after beating Shawarma Girl in the dumpster, and they search for the ring because she's wearing it, because that's weird, in my opinion. Like, the Fulcrum lady sees the ring in the Marlin with the receiver, and it's like, I'm gonna wear this ring because I'm weird like that. And past few weeks I've been doing like an opinion thing. I haven't really got much response from it, but that's cool. I mean, I'm still gonna do it. Put it out there for you guys. Why not? So this is my opinion question for the week. What was it weird that the shawarma girl was wearing the ring like it was? I mean, that's the question. But here's my opinion. Yeah, it was weird. You just find a ring in a Marlin with a receiver and you decide to wear it. It's kind of weird, awkward. Anyway, so after she loses the ring in the dumpster like a dingo, not the animal, just like a dingbat, like an idiot. Anyway, she she decides they Chuck and Sarah search for the ring, and they find it after going through some stuff like feminine hygiene products, and some noodles, etc. They find the ring, and Chuck delivers it, and we get to see awesome proposal. Now, this is why it's awesome. He originally planned to propose while skydiving. That's a bad idea, and Chuck points that out. It's a terrible idea because he could lose the ring mid-flight. It's just terrible, terrible thinking. So he decides to do it over dinner, which is fantastic. Except I'm not a big fan of putting like rings and stuff in food. I feel like you're asking for somebody to swallow a ring, and it's not going to end up good. So Chuck's doesn't make the deadline for that proposal, and it ends up being a thing where he just proposes as she's waking up after their date night, and it's simple. It's not complex. It's simple, and it's just nice, and it works out, and it's lovely, and that's what I think about that. So it's awesome, in my opinion. It's an awesome proposal. She just wakes up to him proposing, and it's fantastic, in my opinion. And Chuck and Sarah get to be there to watch it, maybe instill a little bit into their relationship. Maybe. Who knows? No, people who've watched Chuck multiple times like me know. But anyway, that's besides the point. So, that, she says yes. We're gonna have an awesome wedding. Can't wait. That's to come in season 2. So, there we close the book on Ellie and Awesome for season 1. They've grown pretty good. They've grown pretty well. But like I said, I closed the book on them. So let's delve into the episode, the main points of this episode. Chuck and his safety. Now, as we can see, Fulcrum is getting ever closer to discovering who the Intersect is. Most of them think it's Bryce Larkin at the moment, but they know something is up with the Bymore. They know some kind of freaky deaky stuff is going on at the Bymore. Something is going on with the Intersect at the Bymore. So Fulcrum agents, specifically the Shawarma girl, have been bugging the place, and she puts the receiver in the Marlin, and through the series of hijinks that I've explained so far throughout the episode, the Marlin ends up at the Wienerlicious. So, obviously, Shawarma Girl goes over there to find out about the Marlin. But a little backstory behind this is that this is a big deal for Chuck, because if Fulcrum finds out he is the Intersect and not Bryce Larkin, he's going to have to go away forever. Like, not like for years until Fulcrum forgets about him. No, like forever. The entirety of his life, the rest of his life, would be spent in an underground cell, padded walls, some amenities and stuff. It'd be like, I assume it'd be like a 4-star resort with no access to the outside world. I guess is how I'd put it, at least. And it's not something Chuck wants, because he wants his family and he wants to be with them. And who can blame him? To Chuck, his family is his life. It's his livelihood, so he doesn't want to be separated from them. So this is a big deal for him. So he's scrambling, trying to figure out how to get this receiver back and not get sent away. But like I said, he finds out who the person is, and they find out that she's headed over to the Wienerlicious, and we have a battle of the food ages. We have shawarma versus wieners, and it's a battle of food. It's Sarah representing the Wienerlicious and Shawarma Girl representing shawarma. And while Shawarma Girl technically wins, Sarah wins. Sarah doesn't lose. She's never lost a fight in her life. Even if she has lost a fight, she never lost that fight. So, anyway, they fight. Harsh words were exchanged, and Sarah gets locked in the freezer. Shawarma Girl escapes with the receiver in the ring, and Chuck comes to save Sarah. But he's too late. He can't shoot the lock off in time, and the cop, air quotes around cop because he's not really a cop, he's a CIA agent, Longshore, the guy that was investigating the Buy More robbery, Longshore has come to take Chuck to his underground base. Chuck finds out he's a CIA guy, and Longshore is your typical CIA dickbag, but I mean, can't really fault him. He's got to be kind of a dickbag for what he's doing. So they get to the helipad, the same helipad I would like to point out from the pilot episode. So that was a good callback in my opinion. And he's going to take him away, but Sarah gets there just in time after Casey frees her from the freezer. And obviously, this is my favorite part of the episode, is when Casey and Sarah tell General Beckman that Chuck's been taken. She goes, "Yeah, I know. It was by one of us." And they're like, "Oh, well, whatever." And after the call, both of them have come such a long way that they both care enough for Chuck to go after him. And that's what they do. They go after him. And Sarah gets there first, obviously. And she tries to convince Longshore not to send him away. Well, Sarah gets her last words in. She's like, "Chuck, am I ever..." They're like, "Hey, I love you, man." Except they don't really say that. It's more of like, she's like, "Hey, Chuck, I'm sorry that this has to happen to you." He's like, "It's cool. I haven't really accepted my fate, but I mean, I guess I can't do anything about it at this moment. So what I want you to do is tell my family and friends I love them and stuff. Make sure they know I cared for them." And Sarah, of course, Sarah's gonna do that because she's gotten really close to Chuck. She's become smitten, I guess, with him is what I would say. In this case, she's become smitten with him. And so and also at this part, I like how Chuck is flirting with her hard. He's spitting mad game at her, at Sarah. As he's about to get sent away, he's like, "Hey man, now that we're not working together anymore, hey, let's go out on that date." I commend you, Chuck. I commend the writing and stuff. That's awesome, having Chuck spit mad game at her for as he's about to get sent away. But like we all know, Shawarma Girl shoots Big Longshore in the back, and he dies. We have a fight to the death to save Chuck, to see whether he's going to be fine with Sarah and them, or if he's going to be taken by the Fulcrum agents and be tortured. And obviously, Chuck's not going to go do well with torture. So that's probably not a good idea if that happens. But luckily enough, it doesn't. Sarah prevails and punches Shawarma Girl in the face. in a dumpster fight. And I'm sure we would all pay top dollar to see Yvonne Strahovski as Sarah Walker fighting bad guys in a dumpster. That would probably be cool, right? That'd be a cool setting. Cool thing. Kick back, have a beer, watch it. That'd be cool. But anyway, we get a little Chara moment at the end of the episode. Chuck's like, "Hey, you want to go inside and congratulate Awesome and Ellie?" And she's like, "But it's more of a family moment." Chuck's like, I know what I said." Boom. Attaboy Chuck, getting in her mind that she is part of that family. She is not just his handler anymore. She is part of something to him. She means something to him. He really likes her, but she's also a part of his family, just like Morgan is. Casey's getting there. Casey's becoming a nice guy. Becoming a nice guy. So there we have it, folks. That's Team Bartowski's story for season 1. We got a lot of changes. Chuck becoming more in depth into this spy world of sorts. And then you got Sarah going from work badass to badass that also is very interested in Chuck. And Casey, a cold-blooded killer who now doesn't necessarily have a heart of gold, but is more in tune with his emotions and more nice, more compassionate in a way toward people. I mean, pre-season 1 Casey would have never let Sarah go after Chuck, but in this finale, he wanted to go after Chuck to save him because he cares. Casey wouldn't like me saying that, but he cares. And there we have it, folks. The end of season 1, Chuck vs. the Marlin. It's in the books. It's 13 weeks, people. 13 episodes, 13 weeks. Except I think it might be 12 because I released 2 episodes in 1 week. We did that a couple times, so it might be 11. But it's 11 to 13 weeks. Still. I mean, season 1 of the rewatch is done, but we've got so much more of the rewatch to go. We're not done yet, guys. We're not done. I ain't gonna abandon this. I won't abandon this. Hopefully you guys won't abandon me either, though. That would be nice. Don't abandon me. Keep listening to the podcast. Share it with everybody. Make sure everybody knows that Chuck, the Intersect Project podcast, is a place where all Chuck fans can go to listen to me discuss what I think about all the episodes as I go through and rewatch them for like the 3rd time. But don't think that I don't care about your opinions either. Tell me what your opinions are. Send it to me on Twitter at ChuckRewatch33, capital C and Chuck. Send it to me on the Intersect Project podcast page on Chuckaholics. Send it to me on the Intersect Project podcast page on the Chuck Wiki. That's right, we have an official page on the Chuck Wiki. And also, go send me your opinions on Reddit, the Chuck subreddit. I peruse that a lot. There's a lot of cool people over there too. Just let's share this because, like I said earlier, everybody. I mean, the more we share, the more this podcast is shared, the more the TV show Chuck gets out there. The more the TV show Chuck gets out there, the more likely we are to get bigger fans. The bigger the fan base, the more likely we'll get a movie. And that's what we all want, a movie. And but we also want a place where all Chuck fans can get together and talk about stuff. So I mean, I like discussing Chuck with people. That's why I like doing this, is because there's a lot of great people out there who also are in love with the same show that I am. And it's fun talking to people with common interests like that. It's what we search for. So I mean, like I said, guys, I know it seems like selfish, like I want this podcast to be huge, and like I said, I have goals set for the podcast. It would be awesome if we could do a live podcast as like a conversation for cause at NerdHQ 2015. Like that would be awesome and stuff. But I mean, it sounds really selfish, but it's not really for me. I want it more. I want the podcast to blow up more for the fact that Chuck gets bigger and reaches more people, I guess is how I would put it. So please share the podcast. And there we have it. Thank you for listening to me for 13 episodes. Like I said, I will return either next week or the week after that. I'm not sure if I'm taking a hiatus for a week or not yet, but I'll see you either next week or the week after that for season 2, new beginning. And remember, everybody loves Chuck. Some people just don't know it yet. Signing off for season 1. I'm Paul. Catch you on the flip side, Chucksters.